Now I know all of you car guys are also master detectives because you're looking for your 10mm socket. But today I want you guys to solve another mystery for me. What do these two cars have in common? The one with the opening front hood and the one with the not so opening front hood, but does it have an opening back? Ooh, it's got an opening of a back. But anyways, what do these two cars have in common? Well, if you ask us or the car guys, if they take a quick look, they are two-door sports coupes. And we're gonna break down today what you can get at what price range, because these two cars are obviously in different price ranges. So we're gonna look at the bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond tier of cars and what can you get at those price ranges. But we're gonna break down why I think certain cars deserve to be the best cars at that price range. So let's get right into it, guys. What are the best two-door sports coupes you can get in what price range? What is the first car at the $10,000 price range, the bronze tier, that I feel is the most worth it car at that price? And I feel it's the 350Z and G35 coupe. Technically it's two cars, but they fit the same platform pretty much. And the G35 is the more luxury model, while the 350Z is the more track-related model. But both these cars exhibit three amazing qualities. One, they look really good at their price and you can customize them quite a bit. Number two, you can take them to the track quite easily and you can modify them as much as you want to do whatever you want, drifting, racing, whatever, or even a show car. And the last part is the fact that these cars are fairly famous for what they are. Under $10,000, and you've probably seen them in Need for Speed Underground, you've customized them in Forza, and you've seen it in none other than Tokyo Drift, with the Drift King driving a 350Z for himself. These cars, I feel, are the best platform because I've ridden in a few of them before, and I even considered a G35 for myself. And I feel like they're very capable cars for their price point. Other cars at that price, they don't really have as much power, but the 350Z and G35, they both have rear-wheel drive and around 297 horsepower, which is quite powerful for what you're getting. And even though it's a little bit older, the massive aftermarket is there. So if you want to customize it, there's tons of options out there. There's wide body kits, there's just fender kits, there's all sorts of kits and customizable options you can get out there, spoilers, whatever. If you're looking for it, they can find it. If you look on YouTube, there's tons and tons of videos of different builds for 350Zs and G35s. So I feel at the $10,000 price range that the best bang for your buck is the G35 and 350Z respectively. Now at the $20,000 to $30,000 price range, which is kind of like the price range a lot of people sit at, this is the silver tier, $30,000. And what can you get at that price point? In my opinion, I think the Subaru BRZ or Toyota 86, they're like the same thing, we're going to refer to the BRZ, is an amazing platform for $30,000. It doesn't have as much power as the car before, the 350Z, but I would say it handles even better. I've sat in one before. My friend, he used to daily drive one, and it's a very good daily driver. It's very capable, and you can build it up from almost anything. There's so many different ways to kit out, option, and customize your BRZ, and it's a great starting platform for tuners and enthusiasts. 200 horsepower isn't too much to write home about, but people call this car the poor man's Porsche because on the roads, it's very planted to the ground. It feels pretty quick, nimble, and the response for the steering is just, it's really good. When my friend was driving around in it on the back roads, it's so responsive to whatever he did. And if he turned, it just goes right away. Great car for the price point, and tons of YouTubers out there, they've modified them in almost every way possible. It's a very popular car for a reason because it's customizable, great driver's experience, and you can kit them out in so many different ways. You can throw a turbo in it, you can make it a show car, lower it, stance it, whatever you want to do. There's options for that, and the BRZ will offer it to you. Now for the $70,000 price range, the gold tier, it's fitting that we have a German luxury car in this segment. Something shiny, and this is the younger brother of the SLK. We're not talking about the SLK series of cars or the CLKs, but we're talking about the 2017 C63 AMG. And now I'm partial to the BMW M4s. I like those cars and I've always been raised on those. But I feel overall, this car, the AMG, is just better bang for your buck. It's very luxury oriented, so the interior is beautiful if you ever sat inside one or saw one. They look gorgeous on the outside. They just scream luxury inside and out. and it's very performance based. It sports a V8 engine with 469 to 503 horsepower, which is ludicrous at $70,000. Unless you're starting to look into the used Corvette range, but we're not talking about that. We're focusing on the AMG. It feels very comfortable as well. They say it's a great daily driver with a good luxury interior and exterior. And anything short of a McLaren or Lamborghini, if it's at a stoplight and it tries revving you, you're probably going to smoke that thing. So not only do you look great, the interior is extremely comfortable and luxurious, screaming German luxury, and it's very, very quick and sports performance oriented. This car is just an overall great pick. I'm partial to BMW, but I feel that the AMG is just better than BMW and Audi at this price segment. The only downside to this car is the fact that engine rebuilds are known to kind of happen on this specific platform, and these engine rebuilds cost $12,000 to $15,000 to replace, which is quite pricey. So if you like to take that risk, it doesn't happen too often, but it does happen every once in a while. If you're willing to take that risk, you could get an AMG for great value. Take care of it, and you might not have to even worry about it. You just get a great car for the price. Now, at the $150,000 price point, the platinum tier, as I like to call it, you're looking at one of the most recognizable and timeless car designs that money can buy right now. Often referred to as a benchmark for performance because it's so recognizable. It's honestly probably my favorite car, the higher end models of it. The Porsche 911 Carrera is a wonderful, wonderful choice if you're looking at that price range. Very, very, very performance oriented. It's known as the driver's car because it feels planted, just like the BRZ as we mentioned before, but this is the real deal. It feels extremely planted, almost like it's on rails. It's really, really responsive and has 450 horsepower, which is that's more than double than the BRZs. You have double the power with just as great handling. People say that when you're driving around, it is like one of the most track-related cars you can find out there. And the luxury inside, not only is it luxurious, but it's driver-focused. The entire car is based around the driver itself. So all the controls and everything is within easy reach of the driver, and they're all related to your racing, driving experience, or daily driving if you want to set it to that as well. The only issue with it though that I would say is that the control console, it's not super user-friendly. It's within easy reach and it's very intuitive. Like you can do a lot of things with it, but it's not the easiest to learn. So you have to learn it before you start using it to its fullest potential. Not as easy as the Mercedes or like the Audi systems or the BMW ones, but once you get used to it, it's just as great. It just takes a little bit more time to get used to. And also the 911, it sounds majestic. It sounds super good if you rev it up, and if you don't want it to be too loud so you wake up your neighbors in the morning every time you drive out to your business meetings or your job or whatnot, it has rear silencers and an option to turn them on in case you don't want it to be super loud. Because you gotta respect your neighbors. Respect is the game. Don't wake them up and piss them off. Make sure that your neighbors actually like you. I would say at that price point, platinum tier, definitely get a Porsche because they are just one of the greatest cars you can get. And if you really want to mess around with it and change it up a little bit, you can do a few things to it as well. I've seen some Porsches where you can kind of add body kits into it right now. As is, they're great cars, but you could do that if you really wanted to. And now, just like how we talked about the Mercedes younger brother, the AMG, we're lucky enough to be able to talk about the Ferrari's younger brother, the Ferrari 458. That car, at $250,000, the diamond price tier, you get so much car for so much cash. It has a 562 horsepower V8 engine with a 0 to 60 time of around 3.4 to 3.8 seconds. So it's a lightning bolt. It just goes. And you get 9,000 RPM with this thing. If you go to that speed, like if you're reaching that like amount of RPM, it's screaming. It sounds really good. And you get 80% of the torque. So you feel the power, all 562 horsepower at roughly around 3,000 RPM. So if your car is even just like not even halfway to its maximum RPM, you're already feeling the power behind it. And with a car engine like that, you'd think it's not reliable. Well, joke's on you, because on reviews, it says that it's actually surprisingly reliable and maintenance bills aren't too expensive compared to like other supercars. But honestly, if you're looking at that range, like, do you really worry about maintenance bills anymore? Everybody knows about Ferrari. It's built to be a supercar. It's one of the classic ones. And to this day, they have a wonderful legacy. Those cars are very, very great for a very good reason. And one of the craziest things about these cars too is the fact that you can modify them. When you're looking at that price range, you're not thinking that I can modify these cars anymore. They're like, I'm gonna keep them as is and all that. But you can take one of these things, the 458 version of it, the new modern boy of it. You can wide body it, slam it. I wouldn't suggest slamming it, but you can wide body it. You can put a GT3, Liberty Walk. There's different kits out there for the 458. It's whack. It's crazy how you can actually modify that thing even more than it is now. So you get an extremely modifiable car. You get wonderful horsepower across the board because you can feel the power at 3,000 RPM. And people say that when you're driving it around, it's almost telepathic. It's psychic, my dudes, because when you're driving it around, it knows when you're gonna turn. It feels super, super responsive. When you're turning it, it already knows you're going. It's like, no, bro, don't worry about it. I got you. I'm gonna start turning for you. It's very responsive. It's quick. And overall, you get one of the coolest looking cars around. So at the $250,000 price tier, diamonds, you might as well get a Ferrari. I think that's the best car you can get at that price point because you can modify it, do whatever you want, have a ton of power, look super good, and you don't have to spend that much on maintenance bills. What's not to love? And that, my dudes, concludes today's video where we looked at the $10,000, $30,000, $70,000, $150,000, and $250,000 price range and saw what cars were best at those ranges. In my opinion, if I had to go grab one, if I had all the money in the world, obviously you get like the top tier car, but I feel the best bang for your buck car, I'd probably sit around the $70,000 tier. The AMG is a great car and you don't have to spend way too much to get to it. The other cars, you're starting to have diminished returns because you're spending way more for a little less. Like, I mean, you still get more, but not as much as the exponential increase from 10, 30, and 70,000. 70,000 is a good, decent midway point of it, and if you want, you could modify cars at the 30,000 price range as well. These cars, the really high-end ones, are only when you have the money to do so. So I think $70,000, it's a great price range to be looking at those kinds of cars. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys like this video, remember to like and subscribe, and if you want to see more videos like this, feel free to let me know. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Have a good one.